Welcome to and welcome back to Sexy Business Podcast. I'm your host, Carolina.
And I'm Aisve. And today we want to talk about a theme that actually really started this podcast, which was dating. Because me and you, we were so confused. Honestly, we were like, oh, okay, so what is this like hookup culture? And like, are we liking it? Are we don't? I was like, how do I find my ground? You were out of like a long-term relationship. So for you, like, it was like, oh, okay, how do you get back into this? And like, the world changed a lot while you were in a relationship. Yeah, so what's your experience? Because we have been talking about this for the last year. Yes. How is it?
Well, as you said, this is how we come up with the podcast because we had some very
Interesting situations?
interesting dates.
Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so as you just mentioned, I came out of a very long relationship. So that was 15 years, 14 years of marriage and 15 years altogether. So obviously, my last date was when I was 22, 23, okay? And what's going on now in the dating pool, it's really interesting. I feel like I'm super behind. I don't feel very comfortable doing that. But now it's been a year and I went on a few dates because the first time I went out was last year. And yeah, the experiences are like, how to put it nicely? I don't know if there is anyone left there. But no, I've shared with you many different ones. I think as a culture, it's changed a lot. I don't think it's any more relationships. It's more like hookups. A lot of that, And what are people looking for? It's also a big question for me, So let's say I'll give you example. I went on one date and this guy was like, oh, I really like you. And, like the date was going well and he was like gentleman and stuff. But after the date, next day, I'm getting a message, are you ready to have kids? I want to have kids with you within 6 months and And I'm like, hey, we only went on one date. And I was like, okay, so let's start with, okay, I'm not in my 20s and I'm not in my early 20s. I'm in my late 30s, okay? And probably what I'm looking for is not the same what other people are looking for, okay? Because, look, when you're in your early 20s, you go, you meet someone, you're like, oh, I really like him, he looks good, he's funny, I like him. But once you grow up and, you're in a different stage of your life, your list is bigger. It's not enough someone very attractive or, funny or making you feel good and stuff, it really changes. So our lists are a little bit different. And that's what I realized, that the men also have expectations. So the guy I was going on a date with, he was in his 40s and he doesn't have kids. So obviously on top of his list is, I'm looking for the woman and I want to have kids as soon as possible, So that was really scary for me, the experience, because I already have 2. And in my head, I said,
Kids, not men.
Sorry. That was a good one. Yes.
Who knows?
Who knows, yes.
It's not a bad thing.
So I have 2 kids. So for me, it's like this. Okay, I have enough. But if I find a man and I'm very happy and we both are very happy and the last thing that he really wants is one child, I would probably go for it, Because there is no age for women to have kids, This is all myth that, you have to have kids there and there. So anyway, so I realized that, the other people also have like these expectations and they listen stuff. Then I was going on another date. I was like, okay, let's give it a try, another one. And I think it's a very much also cultural differences. So basically, as whoever follows knows that we are both Lithuanian, and I moved to Barcelona only 2 years ago. So obviously I'm still adjusting to the culture, and it's the same in a dating pool, it's a different culture. So here was with this guy, we're having a conversation, and he's throwing these jokes that are not even funny. It's like very sarcastic and stuff. And me, I'm being me. I'm not even laughing because it's not funny. And I even pointed out to him, I'm like, okay, that's weird.
Like, what kind of jokes?
What kind of jokes? Okay, so for example, he was like, oh, so you have 2 kids, so you're not a virgin anymore.
Ha.
Smart. So I'm like, how should I react to this type of joke? Should I say, oh my gosh, you're so funny? You're not. And the joke is not even funny.
Yeah.
And so what happens towards the end of the date, that he's like, you know what, you are too intelligent. No, you're too smart. I said, so what you're looking, I said, for the stupid woman? What are you? He's like, well, it's easier with them.
But he knows his expectations, as you said.
Yeah.
It's being true.
He's like, it's easier with them. And I was like, okay, so this date is probably the last one. So he's like, let me walk you to your car. I was like, yeah, okay. And then once we walk towards the car, he's like, I want to kiss with you. I was like, maybe not. Because, I came from a different culture, Nordics. We are not as quickly open, probably. And I was like, no. And then he was trying to force the kiss on me. He was like trying to grab me like this, my face and stuff. And I had to like kind of move out. And and that was over with this date. And next thing, he keeps texting me to meet up again. And I was like, no, this is weird, So those two experiences were kind of interesting. So then I did a little break. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna go on the dates and stuff, Then I went on a couple of more dates, and it was similar experiences, People were like, oh, so do you want to come to my house? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. It's the first time I'm meeting the person. And that guy was like, oh, but it's normal here in Spain. We go and sleep on the first date and things and stuff. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just his way to make me feel bad that I'm like different and stuff. But definitely in the culture is something, dating culture, I mean, it's different. But also after those type of experiences, I was thinking, because a while ago, I think was it in the book or somebody said like through the podcast, that the most relationship happens in your 20s to 30s. When you are between your 30 and 40 is usually kind of leftover of people. But then from 40 to whatever later, it's usually already divorced couples from 20s looking to date again. I don't know if it's true, but I heard it somewhere. And it made me think that maybe that's what it is. And maybe for me to try to go on a date with someone a little bit kind of more in the head, I need few more years to wait until they get divorced from the 20s. Because I fall into that bracket, I got divorced when I was 23. I got married when I was 23, I had my children when I was 26, and now I'm divorced. So now I'm kind of waiting for more people to jump into that pool, And it's interesting. But these type of experiences push me like, no, I don't think I want to go on the dates anymore. I'm going to be okay by myself, because it's just, but obviously I think the problem was that I'm not ashamed to say it. I was using the apps, the popular apps, dating apps.
Yeah,
it wasn't. I did met few people just through the like a physical connection, like somewhere met, but quite a few of those strange dates, they were from those apps. I got deleted. I deleted them. I'm like, no, there's no good coming from there. So anyway, what is your experiences?
so kind of like what I'm hearing from you is either like a man who wants to just like have kids and family with you after one date, or the one who's like kind of still in a one night stand scenario where like, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah. And there's, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, just having like a physical connection.
Yeah.
How it was for me, yeah, I had to like, I went through like very different dating scenarios. And I even actually asked myself, you know, do I want some, like, what am, like, I never, in my 20s, you know, I never actually questioned myself, like, why am I dating? Because it was just like, oh yeah, I'm dating for like, you know, a long-term partnership, blah, blah, blah. Like,
Yeah.
like, it's kind of like an autopilot. And in the 30s, as you said, I have my list of expectations. Another person has the list of expectations. And like, you know, it's like, I don't know, two different planets or even universes meet and you're like, oh, can we make something out of it? And like, oh, so because, you know, it kind of sounds super funny, but like before, if like I was going on a date, I was like, oh, okay, that person is looking for something. Now I'm like, so are you into men? Are you into women?
Yes, that's another thing.
What do you want? An open relationship? Are you monogamous or polyamorous? There's so much variety.
Yeah.
So, you know, kind of the first step is like, oh, okay, you know, I'm going to be like with my open cards, like, this is where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I want another person to be like, you know, honest and respectful. So yeah, so my experience was like figuring out like, okay, what I'm for in the dating pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that changed. Like last year, you know, it really also depends on the period of the life. I was training so much. I was thought that I was dating for a serious relationship. And then I realized I don't even have time, space, mentally, like, you know, to have that because I can't even like meet a person. So for me, it became just a sexual interaction. But I was like honest with that. Like, oh, okay, this is what I need. I'm fine with that for that moment. Even if it's like, you know, continuing for a long time.
Yeah.
But then also, you know, like it changes throughout the time and period. And I think now I'm like getting into a different state. But as you said, like, I think one of the parts is like to be not confused what like I'm actually looking for. Like, oh, you know, because I do have some friends who are like, I'm kind of like on expiry date, you know, like I need to find a partner, get kids, get married like now. Yeah. And I think it's a kind of like a scary place to be where I'm like, oh yeah, you know, and the way I live my life, you know, it's also like I move, I travel.
Yeah.
It's not for every partner. So I'm like, okay, is this actually like that period transition, like where I need somebody, you know, to be like tied to me and like we're building things together. So I was like, you know, honest with myself as well. Like, okay, maybe I'm in that, as you said, weird zone as well, not just like other people too.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it, in any ways, for me and for you, these experiences helps us to build what we are really looking for, what our expectations, what kind of relationship we want to build, you know, because there is so many different ways. I have friends who are dating to find a man, to have kids, to get married, to build a house. Myself, I would be probably dating to find a partner that I can continue traveling and doing things in life that I like, you know, and other women, for example, looking just for like only sexual interaction because of that stage of their life. Yeah, so it's true, you know, like every experience is giving us more and more clarity what we want and what we want to manifest.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's like experimentation, because to me it was like, you know, I've always dated for serious relationship. I was like, you know, what's even on the other side? But then I was like, okay, I'm open to have it, but like if I don't have a partner now for that, like as I told you, you know, I was like, oh, so why should I go to the gym if I want to stay healthy? So why I can't have like good things out of interactions with other people if I don't have a long-term partner at the moment?
Yeah.
And I think that is also like liberating, that like, oh, okay, it's not necessarily that I have, like, you know, because you could, or I could spend like 5 years, another 5 years by myself, just because like I don't feel the need to be tied to someone, you know. It feels good. It's amazing. Having a partnership is very beautiful. So don't get me wrong on that. But if I don't meet the person with whom I want to build something, why I need to then, you know, I don't know, be in the limbo. And maybe for some it's like that, because also, you know, when I speak with women, they're like, oh, but how you come, you like, you know, you don't get attached to people like emotionally and so on. I think it's kind of a choice, at least for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I function differently, just from the way I am. But I don't
No,
know.
I
What's your,
think
yeah.
I think many women would relate to you. You know, not everyone is looking straight away for a relationship. Maybe they are recovering, but they still want to have this closeness and stuff, you know. So there is many reasons, and I don't think there is or should be any judgment on that, you know, for what we're looking for. It's just, yeah, probably it's a good thing to go and talk about the things straightforward, even on like the first or the second date, you know, what are expectations?
Yeah, that's another thing. I feel like most people, even like, you know, like they get disappointed because they have whatever framework and they place whatever framework on me, but they have never vocalized it. And then I have just a few people who have been very honest from the beginning. This is what I am. And then maybe throughout the interaction that changes. Oh, okay, you know, and then I open up and I talk about it. But how is it for you though? Okay, because I think we're kind of dating the same age gap of people. And some of them have kids, and it's very different when you have a kid, because you won't introduce a person into a kid's life unless it's actually something serious. So how is it for you in this, well, it's kind of like a hookup era, right? How is it for you when you're a mom, you have 2 kids? And I remember at first when you started dating, you were like, oh my gosh, you know, how even say this to people? But it's so normal. Like, yeah, we are in that age gap where people have kids, whether men or women.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, you're totally right. Once you are like over 35s, I think a lot of people starting to have kids. And if you meet someone, they already will have. And yes, the dating life is totally different because your time is limited. It's limited time. It's obviously depending how the co-parenting in the situation works. For me, I am the only parent at the moment because my ex lives in another country. So he gets to see the kids once every 6 months. So the main picture that 24/7, it's me with them. But obviously I can still find the time for myself and for my own needs and, you know, things that I want to do, you know.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But yes, I think for me, I look at it a little bit more, I wouldn't say more serious, but I don't want the time wasters. It's not like I'm looking to, oh, I want to get married straight away and stuff. No, but I don't want to come with, like, as I mentioned, with the weird people. I don't want to waste my energy with those people. So what these experiences taught me, that even before meeting, just like texting, I'm already trying to picture what kind of person is this? Is it even, do I even want to go to meet in person, if that makes sense?
It makes sense. I feel like I'm very an old lady when I'm like, I just don't want to waste my time. You know, like I sometimes get a text message, I'm like, brief. What is the craziest story from dating that you have? What's your craziest date?
Craziest date. Oof.
Oof, so many.
No.
Which one do I pick?
No, not so many. I think those couple of the ones I mentioned, it was like weird situation.
You're the one that you told me recently.
Which one? I don't know if I want to talk about it, but
Oh, really? Okay.
which one was it?
The motel one.
Yes. Sorry.
That I think that one is really.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'll mention this. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's always good if you want to hold back, but
No. So basically, I've been on a couple of dates with this guy, and so okay, let's play the story a little bit more. I'm a person that I like to get to know the other person a little bit more. Okay, so for me, 1 or 2 dates, it's not enough. No, kind of, there is a chemistry or not. Do you like the person or not? So with this person, I've been on a date about a year ago. And then obviously life happened, routine, the stuff, and we haven't been in contact for a while. And then we decided to meet up again. And I thought we were just going like to eat somewhere and stuff, like for dinner and stuff. And he actually brought me to this motel. It was such a weird experience. Uh, First of all, the place was so strange. I have not imagined that there is like these places exist.
I didn't know those places existed. I would imagine that, it was only for like filming porn and so on. And like, yeah, actually, that's how people do dating now. So what's important for you in dating? What's your criteria and what's your list for a good date?
I wouldn't say I have very high expectations, but in that way, you know how it made me feel? That somebody is bringing me to the motel with the expectation of having sex, booking the motel only for a few hours, and it's time to go. And this is so secluded. Nobody sees who drives in, drives out. It's like I'm going to meet a person who is probably married and he's hiding this stuff. It made me feel so cheap. And it was very upsetting for me experience. I decided I will never answer this guy again.
You know what? It's very interesting. I spoke about this with a friend. Like, we do have a list of like expectations and what we want and so on. But I think what is missing in the dating now, at least for me, like, and even like I would be like, oh, that I like, that I don't like. I have kind of like this mental list of like check-ins, whether I'm like, let's explore. We kind of like, oh, I whether like this person, I want to have sex with him or no. And like, it's like very black and white. It's like very fast paced, of course, where instead of like, let's like enjoy this. We have no idea where this could go. So I think that's what I sometimes like miss, where there's, and even like I'm talking about myself, where I'm kind of like I'm going to the date, and as you said, like I also need like emotional mental connection to be like, oh, is there more traction? But I kind of like I have that mental list where like I don't even think about it, but like does this person align with my life? Oh no, and as you said, especially I see this because we're both like we have, let's call, international dating.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have funny stories too. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm such an action taker that I flew to another country to get laid. This is so funny, because like we have these old stories that we're driven by.
Yeah.
And where I was going with this, where I'm meeting like international people, as you said, I remember here in Spain, we were like getting sexual and sensual, and the person was like, oh, this is how it's like we do it in Spain, we're like this. And I was like, well, just say that's how you are, that's your preference, because we're like, I've been with other people who are from Spain and they have different preferences. But I think we like sometimes are like, oh, this is how it's done in my country. Oh, we are colder, blah, blah, blah. And yes, I live, for example, in Nordic country, where for them, it's very much first date is sex. If the sex is good, we repeat sex again. If it's good again, then we're going to go for a coffee and food. Okay. Where, in other parts of the world, or at least Europe, you go for, I don't know, something to do together first, whether that's a work, whether that's a dinner, a coffee, and then maybe it will evolve, So I couldn't say it's like country by country, but I think it's more like personal preferences as well. And I think for me is very much how the person is, like how I'm meeting another person and how another person respecting my boundaries. Like, maybe I don't want to have a kiss on the first date. Maybe I do. Like it's gonna like it's it's not like a rule book that I have.
It depends on the.
But as you said, if another person like kind of grabs your head and like, oh, forcefully this is how it should be done. So I think that's the exploration part where we're like, oh, who is this another person?
Yeah. And this guy actually got very offensive when I didn't want to. And he's like, do you know how many women would like to go on the date with me and kiss me right now? I'm like, okay, good luck. Yeah, no, that's what it is. It's about how we feel during the date and, after, and like coming back to that story about motel. Okay, he was trying probably a nice gesture, but for me, it felt like, I just took a whore from the street and let's go for a few hours, And he knew that I'm not like this. That's the point, that's the point. That's why it was so upsetting for him. He knew me. We went on a few dates before. We only kissed probably once. And then a year later, taking me there, like what was he expecting, So I know that maybe it was a good thought, but for me, and I think sometimes men don't realize, they say, oh, woman wants a lot. No, it's not a lot. It's about the small detail, For me, I'm good to go on a date on the beach, have an ice cream. That's it. It doesn't have to be something, but it has to be something a little bit more like kind and, I don't know, simple, nice, not something very aggressive straight away, But this is me probably, I am very like soft, vanilla girl, That's why for me, anything that goes like over the top. But from the funny dates, there was one guy I told you also, we go on the date, the bill comes. I am very good with paying my own food, okay, on the restaurant. If the guy offers to pay, that's kind. If not, it's not a problem. But I had the situation that the bill was like about 30 euro. And this guy says, listen, I cannot pay 50-50 because I don't have enough. I only have 10 euro. So I had to pay not only my food, but half of his too. And then he keeps texting me, do you want to go on the date? I'm like, definitely not. And he's like, oh, so you all about money? No. Well, yes, in some way. If I can pay for myself, I'm expecting you to pay for yourself. I'm not looking for a child to pay more.
Just to pay for bills, yeah. Yeah, I had this situation where I paid for like another person's like drinks in Mykonos, and I was like,
Okay.
Do I want this? And as you said, like, I don't mind. I could be like, oh yeah, I'm paying and so on. But it depends on the intention. And I think that's the part what I'm missing. And I'm saying that like, I'm sometimes miss that too, that like the exploration part where you said like, oh, I'm very vanilla, I'm very gentle. That's what you need. I have a very different point of view where people think from how I look that I'm very vanilla, I'm hot. And then they're like, oh,
she's too wild.
Yeah, but why can't we go into this phase of like, oh, okay, I have experience, I've dated people, I've been in relationships. This is a new human being that I'm meeting. So, and we all get this like, what do they say? We have 3 seconds where we kind of like read a person and we like, the first like kind of, I don't know, reaction.
Yeah.
But then the curiosity is gone that we think we have in the early beginning when we just start dating for the first time in 20s or whenever that happens.
Yeah, so all those date experiences is teaching us also to have to stick with our not list, I would say, preferences, and maybe try to kind of analyze before if this person is matching your vibe or not. Obviously, it can change, but some of the things now, when I'm looking back, I could have seen it straight away. So, for example, the guy who didn't have enough money for his own food, he did mention a few times, oh, the girls are gold diggers. I could see already something
How are you a gold digger if he needs to pay for the food?
I know, but you
for
see,
his own food.
But you see, this is what I'm learning. I'm learning from these experiences to start reading more into what person already writing, or let's say some people are very, oh, my ex is crazy and stuff. So this person is not good also, because you cannot always have a because with my ex, okay, I mentioned the things that I didn't like, but if somebody would ask me now, is he a good person? I would say yes. He had a kind heart. He was a good person. In some ways, he was absolutely amazing, you know. Obviously, it didn't work out. But some people are very negative about and say that only person, because it's taking responsibility that it's our part too, you know, in the connection and the relationship. And the same in the dating, you know, you can already read what kind of patterns they have, what kind of traumas, and, you know.
And you see how different it is? Like, you are kind of like reflecting that you want to, how to say, notice things earlier. Where I'm like, oh, I just want people to, and me, myself as well, to be more like open and explore more, rather than be like, oh, okay, you know, like checkbox, and I kind of like don't have a room to roam.
Yeah, maybe because I don't have time.
Yeah,
my time is limited.
Yeah, mine too. But like, I would just like, you know, very fast would be like, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I think it's something what you mentioned before, where the guy said like, oh, you know, there are so many women that I can go and who would be excited. I think that's the problem, is like, we never had such a demand at our hands and the fingertips, where before, like, oh, you were born in a village, maybe there are 5 people that you can, you know, everything was just so limited. And now it's like, oh, I don't like this apple, I'm going to try another one, which is good because we have more variety. We actually can explore and have better things in life. Because I do believe in order to have great, we need to let go of good. But it's also bringing us to this where I have zero patience.
Oh, yes.
So, you know, to me, it would be like something that like, and I would be like
out.
Yeah, you know, so I'm myself like, you know, I'm on that side as well. So yeah, an interesting world.
Yeah. So to sum up, maybe that dating pool definitely changed, and I think the advice would be, if you're going there, listen to your heart, have the things that's important for you, because you know, sometimes people go on the dates and they're like, oh, and maybe I'm gonna put this mask and, you know, I agree with everything. I don't think it's necessary, because it's not gonna long lasting then if you're not real yourself, you know. But yeah, obviously don't have too many expectations in the other person, because then you don't get disappointed. And yeah, I think it's still a lot to learn for us.
Oh yeah,
in this sense.
I think it's just the beginning and starting point.
It's just the beginning of crazy dates.
But I think we do, like, you know, are tapping into this. And what I think, I remember one evening just now, we were walking on the beach a couple of days ago, and I said, you know, like, this sometimes feels so turbulent. And I said to you, but it's like, it's so good that like I have you to go through this and I can actually share this, rather than I would be just only with my thoughts, where like, oh, like what is happening with this person, what's happening with this person. It can get like
overwhelming. Yeah. And it's good to share and to hold each other, you know, through this. It really helps.
I think so. So if that's why I think, you know, I'm happy. Like sometimes I have things where like, why am I a woman? But sometimes like I'm happy I'm a woman, because I can actually talk about these things. And I know men talk less about it. So I'm happy that like I have you, I have other women. And that's why this podcast too, to talk about whatever feels wild and crazy and good and bad. So comment below, like, what are your experiences? What has been your crazy date? Is there something that you would like us to discuss on the podcast? Because maybe you would like to discuss it with a friend, but you can't. You feel like, oh, it's a bit too much.
Yeah.
There's nothing too much on this podcast. So share it with us, and we would be really glad to cover it.
Yes. Thank you so much. Follow and subscribe, and see you on the next episode.